Hello, happy Tuesday, and welcome to VA Careers Live. Talk About It Tuesday. My name is Tim Blakeney. I'm a national recruitment consultant for the Veterans Health Administration and your guest host for today's show. First off, thank you for joining us, and we know your time is valuable, and we appreciate that you spend some of that time with us each week as we talk about VA careers. Since it is the second Tuesday of every month, our regular viewers will know that this is question and answer day. If you happen to be joining us for the first time, these questions are selected from those audience members like you have submitted across our social media this past week. But before we begin, I want to remind you that we want you to be part of the conversation. So please feel free to leave any comments or questions for us in the comments section below. Our team will do our best to answer your questions and address your comments. With that said, let's get into some of the questions that I have currently. First one is, could you tell me where I can find an example of a federal resume? Also, where can I get a copy of the SF50 form? I noticed some job postings require it. So thank you for that question. You did not ask, but here is a link with federal resume tips. My colleagues helping me here today will post the link or paste the link in the chat. You can also look at VA careers. To answer your question of a federal resume, I did a Google search and came up with a good number of examples. If you have heard me in the past conversations here on Talk About It Tuesday, I always say that Google is my friend. Using Google, I found this link at military.com. Again, it'll be pasted in the chat. With this link had some good advice. There's also the Office of Personnel Management, OPM, had some good information. And again, that link's being posted now. I hope this answers your question on finding help in writing a federal resume, but also in finding some example federal resume formats. Now, for the SF50, you would only need this form if you were a current or former federal employee. If you are neither, then the requirement does not apply to you. If you are a current employee, you can obtain it from your personnel file. If you're a former employee, more than 30 days, you would need to contact the Federal Records Center at this link. So good luck. I hope I answered your question, and good luck with getting everything that you need. Next one, is there a process for citizens currently living overseas? Again, thank you for the question. Unfortunately, it is somewhat vague. I'm going to guess that you are asking if the process to apply for a position with the VA is different for someone who is living overseas. And I'm going to say the answer to that is no. Everyone looking to apply for an opportunity to work at the VA could go to vacareers.va.gov or usajobs.gov to search for an opportunity of interest and apply if you meet those qualifications. If I missed the mark on your question, please resubmit it with additional clarification, and we'll provide a better answer for you. Thank you. Next one is, I'm asking if you have any tips for those of us that work for the VA already in a clinical capacity and trying to make a career move to a non-clinical position. I have been with the VA for almost 17 years as a DRT in the imaging department. And by the way, that's a diagnostic radiological technologist. So thank you for the question. And let me also say thank you for currently taking care of our veterans. Tips I would give you, if you're staying in the same location and possibly the same department, maybe looking to become a manager, not sure, let current management know of your desire to career progress. If not in the same department or even field, network with the areas that you would consider going to. And again, let people know of your interest in whatever it is. If location is not a concern for you and you just want to find a non-clinical position somewhere within the VA, I would ask you to look at VA careers and see what we are looking for and where. If you find something, I encourage you to apply to it and also reach out to that department/location and make an introduction. In your application, I'd encourage you to do a cover letter, letting everyone know what you're bringing to the table. I hope this helps, and I wish you luck in finding this non-clinical opportunity. The next question is, I have been applying for the VA for many years. I have redone my resume for CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant, and medical support, but seems I can't get any chance to get in. Is there any help you can provide me? I would appreciate it. So thank you for your question. I hear this often that someone has applied many times with no success. The very first thing I tell people like yourself is to continue to apply. There are some positions that are very competitive with literally hundreds of applicants. You have gone over your resume. I would suggest that you have someone else look at your resume as well. A second set of eyes is always helpful. Perhaps more detail in your work history that is applicable to the position you're applying for. Certifications that would help in these positions, basic life support as an example. Consider a cover letter to the hiring manager telling them what your experience and certifications, as well as what you bring to the table, are when hired. Be confident, tell everyone what you can and will do. Bottom line here, please continue to apply. The next question is, I'm having a hard time getting to the first interview. Any advice? Again, thank you for your question. And like what I just said up above, look at your resume. Is everything there? Have you highlighted your skills for the position that you're applying for? Have someone else look at that resume. They may have a word of advice for you. Cover letters do help. It is a place to highlight your skills and experience and anything else you bring to the table. Please ensure that you read the announcement completely and have complied with the instructions of that announcement. Your cover letter can highlight some of what they are asking for. Like I said in the previous answer, continue to apply, please. You will get there. Next question is, when applying for a position, is there a different application process for persons with disabilities? So thank you for your question. The federal government hires each person using something called a hiring authority. The term comes from the federal regulation that describes it. There are many hiring authorities. Federal agencies can use something called the Schedule A hiring authority to hire an individual with a disability. If you're an individual with a disability, you can apply and compete for any job for which you are eligible and meet the qualifications. But you may also be eligible for a special hiring authority. Here's a link that will provide an in-depth look at this process. My colleagues will place this link in the chat. Good luck, read the process, and again, good luck with it. The next question is, what are some good questions or types of questions to ask during an interview? Thank you for that question. You will hear me say this often. Google is my best friend. More often than not, and will be yours also. Just ask Google. So I asked Google questions to ask during an interview as a candidate. That was my query. The top response was the Muse 57 smart questions to ask an interview during a job interview. And again, that link is being placed in there. Second up was the Society of Human Resource came in with 10 interview questions job candidates should ask. Again, that is being placed there. The first 5 that they suggested you ask are, why is this position available? When was the last time someone in this position was promoted? What are some challenges I could face in the job? What would be considered a great day doing this job, and what would be considered a challenging day? How are criticism and feedback handled within my team? Again, I would encourage you use Google like I did And I put in there questions to ask during an interview as a candidate, and those are the responses. Look at them, and you'll get any number of questions that you could potentially ask during an interview. So good luck. Which programs would most benefit new and recent graduates looking to gain experience at VA? Again, thank you for this question. I'm going to ask you to go to vacareers.va.gov. And if you scroll all the way down the page, you'll come up on career guidance and a block for students and new graduates. Click the Explore button, and this will take you further into exploring careers for new graduates. You'll see the internship program, the recent graduates program, Presidential Management Fellows program. Check them out, and I'm confident you'll see something of interest. Okay, with that being said, now let's see if there are any questions from the audience today that we can try and answer. All right. I see one that says, looks like it comes in from a VA employee. Does a relocation incentive agreement include annual leave to look for housing, and typically how long can an employee push out their start date at the new location? So thank you for that question. And what I would say to you is talk to human resources. You're going to have a leave balance. You'll know what your leave balance is. And so I would say, that's how much time you have to go looking. But again, talk to human resources at both the losing facility and gaining facility, as well as the hiring manager at the gaining facility, and see what can possibly be worked out. I mean, I don't know for sure, but if I were in that situation, that's what I would be doing. I would talk to human resources, talk to the gaining hiring manager, the losing hiring manager, and just see what's possible. So the next question came in, would there be any conflict for me to apply for employment if my husband is rated 100% service connected, injured in combat? So again, thank you for that question, and thank you for your service as well as your husband's service to our country. Greatly appreciated. And to answer your question, no, there is no conflict. You can apply for a job with the Veterans Administration or any federal government agency and without any conflict. So please do apply. Another question came in. Can you explain the timeline for hiring certificates? Once a certificate is issued for a position, does the timeline start on the day the announcement is posted on USA Jobs? When does the certificate expire? That's an interesting question. So, as you know, somebody has told you that a certificate is issued, a job is announced on USA Jobs, it closes. Certificates are issued once the HR specialist has looked at all of the applicants and qualified them against the announcement. That could be anywhere from one person to hundreds of people that get sent over to a hiring manager. So to put a specific time on how long it takes, that's pretty. I'm just going to say it's kind of impossible, not knowing. If there's 100 candidates and I'm a hiring manager and I have to look at each and every one of them, I'm going to look at each and every one of them, and it may take me a little bit of time. So if a certificate gets close to expiring, then I can ask for an extension. So not sure that answers your question. I hope it does. But it just depends on the number of candidates. Another question came in is, if you received your informal offer and you will be starting the final year of nursing school in September, is it okay to let the HR specialist know this now? Position is for community care with 2 years of experience in a different VA community care program. So unfortunately, I really don't know the answer to that, but how I would answer that is, yeah, talk to your human resources, let them know what's going on, that you're starting it looks like you're starting your final year of your BSN. Um, I would think that they would know that, but yeah, talk to them and just keep them informed of what's going on. So, um, another question came in that says, how important is education versus experience? Again, that's going to depend upon the announcement. An announcement will say, they're looking at experience, or if you replace experience with education. So they're both equally as important, I guess. Um, and you just look at the announcement and see what's being required. You can have experience in lieu of education, and vice versa. So I guess I would just have to say that they're both equally as important. So uh, looks like another question came in. I had an interview for the VA hospital in Richmond, Virginia, about 2 weeks ago. I haven't heard anything back. Is that a good or a bad thing? I'm going to say neither, because I hope when you did your interview, you asked when they would be making a decision. That would have been one of those interview questions to ask at the end. But if you didn't, then possibly follow up with human resources to find out the status of your interview, as well as the position itself. They could have had any number of people that they're doing interviews on. They could still be doing interviews. It just depends on the position and the number of applicants. I don't know the answer to that, but I wouldn't say it's good or bad. I'd be indifferent. I would reach out to human resources, or maybe even that hiring manager that you spoke to during the interview, and find out what is going on. So with that said, I do not see any other questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and close this up. I'm going to say that's all we have time for today. But as we wrap up, I just want to ask everyone joining us today to spread the word that the VA is hiring. For those of you that have applied, just please stay the course through the process. We see you and we're rooting for you. Believe me, we are. If you have any questions, remember that our Talk About It Tuesday team is here every week, and vacareers.va.gov is an outstanding resource that you can answer many of your questions about the application and hiring process. Please share our website and these broadcasts with everyone you know, because caring for veterans is a noble cause and certainly worth the effort. Thanks again for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.